Hello world! Welcome back to the Almond Force channel. This will be a bit of a different video from what I typically release, but you may have heard about how Linus Tech Tips got hacked recently. Well, I believe I had an attempt made to hack me in a similar manner to how Linus did, and I will be going over all of that in this video. Recently, I got reached out to on Twitter by a user named Erna. Yes, I am tag dropping this individual as I don't want anyone else to potentially get scammed by this human filth. Erna's first message to me inquired how much I charge for advertising on my YouTube channel. Now at first I didn't know what to think. I thought my channel was still too small for sponsors to be interested in it this early on, with only a little over 2,000 subs to my name, so I decided to message Erna back to get more information. I probed Erna for a specific price that maybe they already had in mind and what product and or service I would be advertising for. Erna responded to me with a fairly in-depth description of an online game called Impulse Flow that is based on blockchain technology and was offering $100 to $15,000 for just 30 seconds of integration into my next YouTube video that I release. I thought that this was way too good to be true, but nothing really raised a red flag for me yet, aside from, the whole game being based around crypto. At this point, I had not really done any investigation into Erna or Impulse Flow, as I was just excited to have a potential sponsor for my channel. I requested further clarification about whether they only wanted the ad in just my upcoming video, if they had a clip they wanted me to do the voiceover with, and if $500 was a reasonable price negotiation for the ad insert. Erna readily agreed and told me that they have a trailer for me to use in the video. Erna then moved on to discussing the terms of the advertisement. And this is pretty standard where the sponsor gets the host to sign an NDA in regards to the content that the host is advertising for the sponsor. This is obviously for privacy and confidentiality purposes so that the host does not release any unwanted or unintended information about the sponsor or their product or service to the public. Now, up until this point, everything's gone smoothly. No real red flags have been triggered yet, at least from my perspective. That is, until Erna sends me the quote-unquote link to the terms of service agreement and the steps following the acceptance of said agreement. Everything looked legit at surface level, but my first red flag was triggered when I saw what site they were distributing the terms of service through. It was Mediafire. I remember from back in the day the countless applications and files that I had downloaded from Mediafire. I will say it was a lot less risky of a site back then, at least for me. However, nowadays, it is a central hub for hackers to upload their malware, which is why nobody really talks about it or uses the site as much anymore. The site fell off along with its reputation. However, for those of us who do know of its existence and remember it and know its common intentions these days, this is a huge red flag for us. Under normal circumstances, I would just say don't click on the link at all and just forget your interaction with the entity named Erna altogether, but the security analyst in me just couldn't resist. Just because it's from Mediafire does not intrinsically prove that what Erna sent me isn't a valid document. So I decided to delve into the depths of hell to see what I could discover. I opened the Mediafire link. I saw that the file was an RAR archive. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary with the file name presented on Mediafire, so I downloaded the file. Once downloaded, I opened the archive in 7-zip to see what kind of file or files I was dealing with. I used the password given to me in the steps provided by Erna in our Twitter messages to unlock the zip file. Inside the RAR archive, I am presented with an Impulse Flow game folder. And inside that, there was a quote-unquote PDF file inside. However, this PDF file had an extra extension next to it which showed SCR. On top of that, the icon for the file was that of a Windows executable. I thought, this is sus. But honestly, it's been sus ever since the method of distribution turned out to be Mediafire. Of course, the security analyst in me decided to extract the file anyways, knowing full well that it is more than likely some kind of malware. I will not be trying to execute it on my host device in this video for obvious reasons. To my surprise though, Windows Defender didn't trigger an alert or flag the file for quarantine or removal. Well, I'm definitely not going to execute it, so let's do a bit of research first. I've seen the .scr extension before, but I can't recall what it is. So I googled it, as anybody would, and find that an SCR file is a screensaver file used by Microsoft Windows. It contains a graphic, animation, slideshow, or video that you can use as a Windows screensaver. SCR files are typically stored in Windows' main directory. There are also SCR or screensaver viruses that are majorly disguised as a utility with functionality to control images, wallpapers, and screensavers. However, it can also be termed as the gateway to problems. It infiltrates the system and transfers malicious programs onto the name of the image downloaded from the internet. Well, if it's a screensaver file that is used by Windows, then I'm not surprised that Defender didn't detect it as a virus. At this point, it's pretty clear that this is a virus because why would the terms of service be in an executable screensaver file? It makes no sense. But let's do some surface level investigation of the binary to prove that there really isn't any PDF involved with or embedded in the file. In my Kali VM, I ran file and verified that it is a Windows executable. It actually ended up being a P32 file, which is a Windows 32-bit executable. To further verify my findings, I opened the file into the HXD hex editor. And found that the file signature turned out to be MZ, which is the common file identifier for a Windows executable. I even did a search for PDF in the bytes of the executable just to prove this file had nothing to do with PDFs whatsoever. And sure enough, no results turned up in my search. Now I could try diving into the nitty-gritty of this binary, but that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to expose you to typical scamming and hacking tactics via social engineering through a real-life example that just happened to me. Although I am tempted to do further investigation into this matter, and I may make some more videos about it in the near future. But for now, let's get back on track. I've proven that this is more than likely malware, so what's my next step? I went to VirusTotal for my next step. For those of you who don't know, VirusTotal is a massive database of malware samples and information about said samples that is available to the public for research. It's updated daily with new hashes, files, etc., and you can upload and or search just about anything you want to as long as whatever you're looking up has been cataloged by VirusTotal's database. I used the MD5sum command to get the MD5 hash of the malware in my Kali VM. Then I popped the hash into the search feature of VirusTotal. Unfortunately, no results were found. Now there are other virus databases that I could try looking for the hash in, but VirusTotal is the biggest as far as I'm aware, so it's likely that the hash won't be recognized in any of the other databases that I try. Bummer, but what this could indicate is that it may well be an already known malware sample. However, some of the bits may have been modified in the executable. Any bit that gets modified would completely change the hash and potentially cause the file to go undetected from antivirus software like Windows Defender, since what a lot of antivirus tools rely on for detection is the hashes of the files. Since my VirusTotal search turned up empty, I decided to do a bit of OSINT on Erna and Impulse Flow. There's nothing too interesting on Erna's Twitter profile. They're a PR manager for Impulse Flow and do NFT and crypto promotions. And if you scroll down, all you'll see is that they're just retweeting Impulse Flow tweets essentially, as well as some other random posts here and there from other Twitter users. Now let's check out Impulse Flow. Let's see if Impulse Flow is a real company or not. If we click on the blue check, we can see that Impulse Flow is a Twitter Blue subscriber, which means that they just pay monthly to have their blue check on their profile. At the time this video is released, the legacy Twitter verified users may or may not have been removed. Thus, the legit verified users will cease to exist. The blue check is not enough anymore to tell whether someone is legitimate or not, so we have to analyze a bit further. The next red flag that pops out is that this company has over 5,000 followers, but are following 0 users. This is typical of scamming organizations as they want to stay relatively under the radar and not draw attention to themselves. If they're following someone or multiple people, that makes them louder and more visible on the platform. However, having a massive following like 5,000 subscribers would make them appear to be a legitimate organization. Are the followers real though? Who knows? You can't trust follower accounts these days, as they can be just as easily bought on the internet as full-blown social media accounts can. However, what really stands out to me is that only people that Impulse Flow follows or mentions can actually comment on their tweets. Since they aren't following anybody, nobody can reply to their tweets. Why would you not want people giving their feedback on the game that you're trying to promote? Well, it makes sense if you're up to something shady, and you don't want people trying to deter others from buying your product because you would eventually be exposed as a scammer, just like I'm doing in this video. Scrolling down Impulse Flow's feed, we can see that it appears they mainly deal in the Ethereum cryptocurrency. They also have a Google Forms link for you to join through. If we click on that link, we get taken to a page that asks some general questions about Impulse Flow, as well as a place to enter your Ethereum wallet. I'm obviously not going to submit this form, but this is probably an entry point they use to lure in unsuspecting victims to their scam. If we go to their likes page and scroll down, we can see Impulse Flow has liked several tweets belonging to Elon Musk, the biggest scammer of them all. I'm mostly kidding, but this does make sense as their so-called game is focused around Ethereum, which is one of the 3 cryptocurrencies that Elon owns, the other 2 being Bitcoin and Dogecoin. There's also a link tree going to different sites that Impulse Flow is involved with, including their own official website that, at the time of this recording, leads to nothing. I won't be going through all these sites in this video, but I may save a deeper OSINT analysis of this company for a future video. So then, why did Erna reach out to me, and how do they fit into all this? If Impulse Flow had been a legit company, which at this point it's pretty clear that it isn't, I would have said that Erna was masquerading as an employee of Impulse Flow. But that doesn't seem to be the case here. Erna probably does work for or is in charge of the Impulse Flow scamming group in some capacity, claiming to be their PR manager and whatnot as indicated by their Twitter profile. So it does appear that Impulse Flow doesn't just scam through their bogus game, but also through social engineering done via their personnel. What Erna didn't do research on though, is who exactly it was that they were scamming. Any mildly competent cybersecurity specialist such as myself would never have fallen for such a trap. Did that human scum really think that shit would work on me? Notice how quickly my neurons fired off at just the mere mention of MediaFire. Some people would have been even more cautious than I was and would have done their research into Impulse Flow before it even reached the point that I got to in my conversation with Erna. But if I had been more cautious, I wouldn't have gotten as many of the juicy details I could have for this video and for potential future videos. This might be something akin to what happened to Linus Tech Tips because Impulse Flow did target me in regards to a sponsorship for my channel, which is similar to something that Linus touched on in his video about his incident with his hacker. The common masses are typically not raised in or exposed to a cybersecurity wary environment. Even a lot of tech-savvy people are not necessarily cybersecurity aware. LTT, for example, probably doesn't focus a lot of time and resources on training their employees on what to look out for in phishing and social engineering attempts, as that was never really a focus of their company. I bet they will now though. But it's not just LTT. Several companies still have yet to grasp the importance of cybersecurity in their workplace, which is why you often hear about them getting hacked frequently in the news. As cybersecurity is still considered a newer field, it makes sense that a lot of people still don't comprehend the gravity of it until it's too late and they get hacked or scammed. That being said, every company should put cybersecurity at the forefront of their operations because of how everything now pivots around technology these days. And with new technology comes new ways of hacking said technology. So it is vital to keep a focus on cybersecurity to limit your chances of getting screwed over. In any case, before we conclude this video, I have some tips regarding what to look out for so you don't get finessed on the internet. If someone sends you a link, please verify that that person who sent it is who they say they are. And even if that person is authentic, make sure to validate the link they sent you because even though that person may be trustworthy, they could have just as easily gotten finessed into sending you the link. And whatever you do, don't click the link until you know with absolute 100% certainty what it is and who it came from. And with that, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like and subscribe to the channel to show your support. Turn on post notifications to get regular injections of cyber content directly into your feed. Check out our Patreon, join our Discord, and follow us on Twitter. Links in the description box down below. and leave any feedback or questions in the comments section down below. This is Almond Milk. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, world.